We are so excited to announce that we are being sponsored by Aya Paper. Aya Paper is an eco-friendly card company launched in 2019 by Savon Anderson, and all of their materials for their stationery products are sustainable and 100% recyclable, which we absolutely love. And so they have this kinfolk deck, which is affirmations, meditations, and reflections for families and communities. I love their pins because they have sayings on them. Like this one says, less planning and more manifesting. And they also have these great cards that are so freaking cute. I love this one that says, women like you make life so much sweeter. So you have to check it out. Again, it is 100% recycled material, and you can find it at Aya paper.co. And since you are one of our listeners, we would love to offer you a discount code, which is BWHPod. I'm not going to tell you how much it takes off because that is a surprise, but you do get a nice discount. So again, it's BWHPod. Again, that's Aya paper.co. And let's go ahead and show them some love by shopping with them.
Black woman, it's time to heal and feel, be real. You just gotta take your time, unwind and chill. Cause now it's time to love yourself, build emotional and mental health. Cause black woman, it's time to heal and feel, be real.
Hey y'all, we are back with another episode of Black Women Healing Podcast. And as usual, we have a special guest, actually someone that I know from high school. So that'll be cool to introduce her. But before we jump in, we're going to do our regular this or that. Donika, do you have something for us? You don't have a this or that? You're the this or
No,
that?
but I mean, since we're going to be talking about music today, this is another person. Let's say, um, we'll say trap music or old school hip hop. So this or that. Which one would you prefer? Trap music or old school hip hop? Um, Off the top of my head, I'm actually gonna say trap music.
What trap music do you listen to?
I mean, I'm thinking more like old school, like Gucci, you know what I'm saying? Like Young Jeezy. Like I'm thinking these people. Cause when I was growing up, that's what was popping, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, like Iceberg. Like I'm thinking the whole Gucci team, first of all. Like where I'm from, like that was huge where I was from. So I guess that's what I'm thinking because it's closer to me. But I do feel like that when it comes to like original hip hop, obviously that's where everything originates from. So it's like you kind of gotta go there first. But I'm gonna say if I had to choose, I'm gonna say trap music. Myra, what are you thinking? You look a little perplexed.
You said it's trap music or hip hop we're picking in between?
Mm-hmm.
Old school hip hop.
Old school
Old
hip
school.
hop. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm thinking like
I feel
hip
like
hop.
it depends on the
Sorry.
day. It depends on the setting more so for me. If I'm in the car, I listen to trap music. I actually listen to random trap music. Like I actually type in trap music.
You do.
But if I'm in the house, I don't see myself just turning on trap music and like vibing to it. It would probably be that. It would probably be hip hop. So I think it depends for me on the setting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you, AJ?
I would say trap music because I kind of think O3 Greedo is trap. When you hear that song Trap House, and you're like, no sheets on top of my bed. It's kind of like it's not the violent trap music. It's kind of like that melodic trap. And then when I think old school hip hop, I think like Will Smith when they be like, and I can't
Yeah.
listen to that all day. So trap for sure.
When you break it down like that, now I'm like, okay, maybe it is more trap. 'Cause I'm not doing no Will Smith. I can't. Mm-mm.
Right. You know, I'm talking about them old school rappers.
My dad
Yeah.
like that stuff. And I'd be like, what are we listening to, please?
That's that daddy music.
My daddy
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
E40.
Well, you said your daddy like E40?
Very love E40.
E40 low key daddy music too, though. I love
Uh huh.
E40 though.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can listen to recording. I want that played at my wedding. Play all his stuff.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump in and introduce our guest. AJ the One is a music artist, art director, and media producer from Inglewood, California. She embodies the city's cultural duality, raised in the avenues and rooted in the matriarchal powers that hold them afloat. AJ the One started her music career as an undergraduate media major at UC Berkeley, with her mother raised in Oakland, California. In the city, a second home to her, AJ quickly acclimated to the Bay Area's artist scene and began gracing stages throughout the coast of California. As a self-proclaimed goddess trap rapper, AJ the One connects with her global audience through a shared connection to Black feminist theory, queer radical thought, global liberation movement, and the erotic. She values creative imagination, nonconventional thought, and those who champion their authentic selves. Clearly, we have a powerhouse here. And so, AJ, let's jump in and talk about your journey to even become an artist.
Okay. Yeah, I know Myra from high school, and I was a very different person back then. Let me tell you, I felt like I was like still trying to conform to like that Inglewood, like what I was supposed to do. I was a cheerleader. I was like, a good student, but I wasn't much of an artist. I felt like there was not a lot of artists around, and that's kind of different for other people. I feel like they went to high school with a lot of people that were already rapping and, doing stuff like that. And I just wasn't really exposed to that. So it was also a lot of my interests dealt with queerness, quirkiness, the erotic, and it just wasn't something that I felt comfortable, doing and expressing openly. And so that's one of the reasons why I moved to Berkeley, because Berkeley is just for all of that. I mean, like Berkeley is just the epicenter for everything queer and artsy and feminist. So I moved to Berkeley right after I graduated from Inglewood High School, and I went to City College in Berkeley. And there I just met so many dope people that were like creating unapologetically themselves. And it just really, really sparked something in me. I was like an orator in high school. So I was doing those little Martin Luther King contest speeches, and I won in high school. And I was like, oh, this is it. So I kind of started my journey to artistry as an orator, speaking for certain like activism things. I just I didn't really know I was an orator. I just kind of wrote speeches for fun. And then I got into poetry. Once I moved to Berkeley, I would just, make things rhyme and kind of just like, and then I started to perform the poetry. And then at first I was like a little shell on the microphone, you know what I mean? And then I started to like make my movement match what I was saying. And I was like, started to become more of a performance artist. People just gassing me up. Oakland is just an amazing place to start off as an artist, because the Black women specifically were just like, you got it. Like, this is what you need to do. Like, just like hella gassing me. So I just kept going, and I more and more, I started to get more like comfortable on stage and doing things that I didn't see other people doing. And then finally a friend of mine was like, his name's Milo Moo. He was like, hey, I want you to rap on my project. And at the time, Milo Moo was like super, super popular on UC Berkeley's campus. By this time I had already transferred into UC Berkeley as a full-time student, and he was just like the it nigga, on campus, because he was majoring in fine art and African American studies. So he found a way to merge these two worlds. And he was, the chair of the Black Student Union at the time. So he was just kind of doing a lot of the things that I wanted to do. And once I featured on this album of his, I just started to get a lot of great feedback and asking me to start rapping. You need to start rapping. Rap, 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 rap. And I just was like, I'm not really a rapper. Like, I'm a poet. I kind of felt like empowered to like, oh no, I'm not a rapper. I'm a poet. It's the same way people be like, no, I'm not a rapper. I'm an artist. It's like people be kind of shading rap a little bit, But finally, I wrote some stuff. I had a good friend of mine give me a beat, and I wrote this song called P4Y. This pussy don't pop for you. And my first song was like this anthemic feminist song that was like ringing through college campuses everywhere, and I was getting booked for stuff, and it just was amazing. It's just like I catapulted me into the world of rap. And so, yeah, that's how it started, and I've just been kind of going with it since then.
Oh my goodness. I love this story. I love this piece of you just like slowly coming out of your shell. And not only that, I'm hearing like all these different pieces of support of people like encouraging you, pushing you, supporting you. I
Yeah,
love that. So I'm so glad that you allowed them to and you received it. Um,
yeah, me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Me
And now
too.
you here making waves. Yes. So something that I seen on your website was this term, goddess trap rapper. So I wanted to know, like, how did you come up with that, and like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I actually got that term from another feminist rapper named Mad Lines, Maad Lines, and her name's Maddie, but she also represents like black femme rage and like what it means to be angry and upset as a black woman, and portraying that into your music, into your art. So Mad Lines, we had an interview on my radio show at the time. I had a radio show in college, and she was like, yeah, you and I are goddess trap rappers. And I'm like, well, what is that, girl? Like, spill the tea. And she was like, we embody everything that is a goddess, right? We're black women. We represent ourselves in a certain way, not on no respectability, but we love ourselves. We love other black women. And, it's a spirituality that we embody and that people can see and feel on us when we walk into a room. And then when you combine that with traditional trap music, as we were talking about before, where it can be melodic, it can, this kind of hood activism, you know what I mean? A lot of trap music, especially when you think of artists like O3 Greedo, and even sometimes like people like Vince Staples, and just people that are from the hood that embody or that incorporate activism and conversations about poverty and housing and incarceration. Like, the people at the top and the people that are not within our community, they really try to downplay, what trap means. And honestly, trap can be, yeah, like I'm in a trap house, I'm slanging pussy and selling drugs and all of that. But it can also mean like this is a conversation about the issues that are happening within black communities. So that's kind of how I think of trap, not just the future, that's what people think of a lot when they think of trap. So when you combine my goddess identity with my understanding of trap music and you put that together, that's what it means to me.
Yeah, I love that too. Have you all been seeing the term a little bit more now? Like thinking of
I'm
you and
sorry, can you
Maddie.
repeat that?
Like, oh yeah, have you
Oh,
like been seeing people utilizing that term more now? Like people identifying as a goddess trap rapper?
not really. No, I haven't seen it yet. I don't think that it's been like kind of mainstream yet, but I hope so. I hope we can like pave a way for a whole new genre for other women to identify as.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Um, so I know we talked about like you becoming an artist, but like since you have identified as a goddess trap rapper, has there been any like struggles? How has the support been from your friends, family, and community?
Yeah. Yeah, it's scary because one of the things that I didn't mention in the first question that Myra asked about my journey as an artist is, the pain and the trauma and the violence that kind of inspired me to keep creating. Is it was the black women and the people around me that were encouraging me, but it was also this really heavy feeling that I felt when we see like sexual violence around campus and Black women just not really understanding their worth, and especially when Black male artists and just male artists in general, when I was starting to rap, they were just so comfortable with their sexual identity and their sexuality. And obviously, you know, music is such a way for them to like talk about what they got and what they don't got, meaning Black men in the sexual sphere. But I just didn't see that, and I was really uncomfortable with me not being able to kind of express my sexuality in music, or I was a hoe, or I was a slut rapper. But that's why I specified the erotic, because we as humans are sexual beings. And it was really difficult for me to hear the, you know, testimonies from Black women that I was mentoring around at the time. I was doing a lot of work with Black women, with Black girls in the youth in Oakland at the time. And they were experiencing sexual violence. They were being molested. They were having these traumatic sexual experiences that they didn't know how to codify. But the music they were listening to was Lil Kim and, you know, all of this stuff. So sex was present in their life, but they just didn't understand how, like, I had a little girl ask me, like, how do I say no when I don't want to have sex, but I like a guy? You know, and that's just like such an interesting question coming from a 16-year-old girl, because it's like, first of all, you shouldn't be having sex, but because you are, I'm going to tell you, you know. So I think the support and just the came from my family. I definitely had support because they saw that I had a deeper cause, and like I wasn't just like rapping. It made my mom feel better that it was coming from a really serious and just out of passionate place. But at the same time, it's like I was still rapping about sex, you know, to some extent. Like, it doesn't matter how, you know, impactful or, you know, whatever it is that your inspiration is, you're still rapping about sex. And I'm from a Christian home, so I didn't really get as much as support as I would have liked to in the formative years of my career. It was tough. I think that even my sister and I were super, super close. Even I've seen her become more open to certain conversations and stuff. And when I reached Rhythm and Flow Netflix in 2019 is when I feel like a lot of my family members started to be like, oh, you're serious about this, you know? And I was just like, damn, I've been really hustling, like, you know, rapping my ass off, and not until I was, you know, acknowledged by this huge platform did a lot of people start to tap in. So I think, yeah, it helped my mom support me more because she knew that I was going at it in this different form. But I think a lot of that support, and I'm sure all of us can understand that, you know, a lot of people don't support you until someone else does. And that's just unfortunate.
I'm tuned in, actively listening, because no, definitely some real stuff of this piece of sometimes people don't support you until I don't want to say it's too late, because I don't think it's ever technically too late, but it is like those like forefront, those beginning pieces, like why people don't initially start there. Like you said, I don't know if it's because I don't know if they're serious, but to be honest, it shouldn't matter if someone's serious or not. Like, let's let them decide and how they want to figure it out. But let's just support them. If they change their
Right.
mind or they're not serious later, then that's okay too. But
Yeah.
that's just like something I'm just thinking of. Like, we really need to. Everybody needs to do better at like just supporting people. If they say they want to do that, let's support them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Oh, well, I mean, see, Myra, you making me ask questions. I was not going to do this, AJ. She's making me do it. But
Yeah.
so you talked about this religious piece. And so you said you were brought up like in a religious home. And so I'm like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, like how was that? You said that
Mhm.
your family, they would listen to your music, or would they be like looking at you like, did you just say that? Like, or was
Yeah.
there none of that in our home? Like how was that?
Yeah, I mean, my mom, I've always been, so my father is also in my life, but during the time when I was coming up as a artist, we weren't as close. Now he supports me 100% and we are very in tune with one another, but he's also a conservative black man from Mobile, Alabama. So even though there wasn't a even when there wasn't a spiritual aspect, it was like a conservative or a respectability that I was supposed to uphold because I'm like a girl and a woman as well. But my mother is super missionary evangelist, like church Sunday, Bible Sunday, Monday, like that type of person. But she also understands that I've always been a very outgoing personality. She's never been able to tame me. I've always been a good student. I've never been like a wild girl, but I did have a wild personality. And so it wasn't that surprising for her that I chose that route or this route as a rapper. But yeah, I've had to kind of, I think I don't identify as Christian, but I think a lot of my spiritual beliefs are aligned with Christianity. But I do pull a lot of my belief systems from like Buddhist teachings, Muslim ideology, and I just kind of created my own understanding of myself and my life, and I put that into my music. So whenever there's a song that I make that I think my mom would like, and she would connect with, I let her listen to it because most of my music is vulgar and it's not for Miss Girl, like she's not supposed to listen to that. But when I do have a song that, she can vibe with, I do share it with her. So I think that balance is good to just let her know, like, yeah, there is, you have a daughter that's a rapper and there is still that core belief system that's present in my creations.
Ah.
Yes.
In what ways do you feel like this journey has impacted your mental health? Like thinking about all the pieces from the show to family to just everything encompassed together.
Yeah, yeah. It's a bittersweet thing because while I started to make music so that I can understand myself and to help other women understand themselves, and that empowerment, that understanding, that validation, all of those things have been really, really impactful in a positive way toward my mental health. Then there's that other side, right? Where I'm not someone that people can really, I'm not easily digestible. You have to kind of like, you got to get to the core. I'm not for everybody, and I'm not in a genre. So when it came to my first mainstream experience with rhythm and flow, I was like taken aback, like, oh snap, like this is the industry that everyone is talking about. These are the demons. This is the evil. This, not saying that the show was evil, but because of the experiences that I was put in, I was like, this is what people be talking about. Like they were trying to get me to perform and to represent myself in a way that I didn't feel comfortable. Then when you look back on the show, you don't see me much because I had a lot of pushback towards like what they were trying to get me to do, specifically like some of the outfits they were trying to get me to wear, some of the things that they wanted me to incorporate into my raps. There weren't I was the only woman from the West Coast on the first season of Rhythm and Flow. So there was this pull to represent LA and Inglewood in this like typical LA girl fashion, right? And I'm an LA girl through and through, but you can tell through this conversation, there's a lot more to me and there's a lot more to what I represent as an artist. So having that experience coming out of it, I was in a place where it's like, damn, is this something that I can do? Like, is the world ready for artists like me? And so sometimes I would convince myself that they weren't. And that was really harmful to my mental health, because this is who I am. This is who I've always been. And it was hard to know that, you know, there was still no space for a political feminist rapper, you know what I mean, in the mainstream world. And then on the other hand, it's like, rap don't pay. Rap is not something that is like in this stage paying you mad money. So it's like, okay, now I have to figure out how to put my degree to work and still go after my passion in music. So it's a layered thing. I think it strengthened my mental health in the end. Once I found how to do that, I was a media studies major. So now I've created a really, really awesome rhythm to where now I'm AJ the One Productions LLC, and you can hire me to produce your podcast. You can hire me to produce your film. You can, you know, I'll help you with your digital media, you know, and all of that is tied into music and it's still art. So yeah, it empowers me to know that I've kind of went through all of the trials, and I've come out, you know, with solutions to each of these, you know, assaults to my security and my self-esteem, you know, my understanding of my career, myself. And I've always found a way to solutions. So that makes me feel good. And it's all because of music, really.
Wow, that is so powerful. And so it makes me want to dig a little bit deeper and ask, how do you feel like you've been able to stay true to who you are when it comes to how you show up, right? Like even how you're talking about how they wanted you to alter some of the things you were wearing and say certain things. How do you stay true to yourself in these different spaces that you're navigating through?
Yeah. And they're so like, even though Sexy Red is so popular and like slut rap is so popular, people are so nasty towards it online and like, oh, women can't, you know, do anything without talking about sex or whatever. You know what I mean? But I am a full human being. Like I just have to honor every piece of myself. So when it comes to people trying to like shrink me or you know, make me feel some type of way because I'm rapping about this or that, I just keep the knowledge and the understanding that we all are full human beings. And because even other women will do that, you know, like we're tired of hearing women rap about this, or we don't want to hear this. I just say, like, I'm just confident enough to know that I can be a lyrical rapper, I can be an emo rapper, I can be a slut rapper, because all of those things are a part of me in what I want to do. And so it's just all about really staying true to yourself. And I've just never met a woman like me, and I've never listened to a rapper like me. So it empowers me too. It's like, all right, well, it may not be your cup of tea, but I like it. And I know somebody that does, you know what I mean? So it just helps me. It helps me to stay true to myself when I realize that it's been working. I was casted onto Rhythm and Flow after one EP. I was still in college, you know what I mean? So it was a whole lot of feminist rap on that EP. I was rapping terrible, if you ask me, to the amount of skill that I've developed at this point, to where I was casted on this big show and in other shows as well that I was casted onto. that is an affirmation that I do have something, and it's not going to do me any good by switching it up because this director or this executive or that person says that I don't like it and I need to shrink myself. Because I've had people tell me, like, you need to like find your lane. Like, you need to like get in a lane and let that be where you are so that we can market you. And so I don't know. I've just never been interested in being marketable, but somehow I'm still marketing. I don't know. It's interesting. People just like, you just have to do you. Cause if you try to do everything in a way that this person and that person thinks, you'll just find yourself in a frenzy, in under your bed, in your closet, rocking back and forth. And I've been there, just completely confused. And it just does no one any good to try to please everyone. You have to just be exactly who you are. It's a lot. It's scary. It requires a lot of confidence, but you just got to do it. It's the same with this podcast. You all could say, "Oh, well, there's a lot of podcasts and something like that." But this space is important. It's important. It's important to me. And I love this, that you all are doing this, whether it has 1,000 downloads, 10,000 downloads, it'll get there. And it's just important to keep your eye on the prize and what you all think is impactful,
Yes, and thank you for pouring into us. You did not have to do that, but
I got you, girl.
Yes, no, there's an avenue for everybody.
Right.
And I think that no matter what, I mean, we can look up some wild stuff out here and people are into it, like there's an audience for everybody. And I love the fact that you are staying true to yourself and whatever that looks like, even if you do decide to change how you want to show up, it's like it has to come from you, right? And I love that you
Right.
are keeping it right there. So at the end of our
Yeah.
podcast, do
Thank you for
takeaways. So it
that.
could be anything. Oh yeah, you're welcome. It can be anything that you want the audience to leave with. So what would you say a takeaway would be for today's episode?
A takeaway for today's episode, I mean, it might be cliche, it might be something that is easier said than done, but you gotta just do it like Nike. Like, you really just gotta push off. You can't wait until you're perfect, or you can't wait till you got it all together. You can't wait till you're fully resourced. You can't wait till you got all of the followers. You can't wait. Like, you literally have to just like push off and do whatever you're passionate about. Write the song, write the email, do whatever in one small thing at a time. A lot of us have 9-to-5s. A lot of us have not recovered from the pandemic. That's something that people don't talk about, is the financial, emotional, and mental and spiritual too impact of those years being in the house, not having employment. A lot of us lost people. So there's a lot of darkness in our world, especially when it comes to, global wars, genocide in Gaza, government, taking Black women's, like scholarships and grants away. It's just like those types of things, they do impact us, and we aren't able to always see the effects of those things. So it's important to just do one thing for you. I understand we all have a job. Some of us got kids. Like, it's just a lot that comes with living in this world as a person, but especially as a Black woman in America. So you really got to just do it. You have to have that confidence and force it out of yourself so that you can see something different. You got to really grab your happiness. Like, it's not going to come. Happiness doesn't good mental health doesn't just arrive. You have to fight for it, and like, full like catch a fade with life to get your happiness. Like it's intense. So I would just say that, like, you have to understand that it's not going to just come. Don't feel bad that you're not whatever is on your Instagram. Everybody has their trials. And like I said, it sounds cliche, but fight for your happiness. Do your passion for that 15 minutes a day, and let it build to an hour or whatever. But just have that confidence and know that you are someone special in this world, no matter how small you may seem.
Absolutely. I love that takeaway. So all your information, everybody, AJ, the one's information will be in our description. Website is fire, by the way. Your website is fire.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Getting myself.
Yeah, you did. See what I'm saying? Y'all need to check her out. You said you did it yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, let me know if y'all need a little something.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's definitely fire. So everybody check AJ the One out. This is another episode of Black Women Healing Podcast, and we will be back next Monday.